Good afternoon, science teachers. I'm Jeremy Blinn, the Secondary Science Curriculum Specialist, and I am here to explain to you about a wonderful opportunity that you probably got explained in the September meeting, but I want to go to you face to face and let you know about this. It's called the School-Based Implementation Opportunity, and in your packet, of which you've scanned this video to see this, or your room facilitator is showing you this video on the screen during our October 17th early release professional learning, this is the opportunity. So in your small group, in the next following ERPL sessions, you and your small group are potentially collaborating to make a lesson plan to implement some new learning. Maybe it's a new instructional strategy, a teaching strategy, an assessment strategy, but the idea is to embed your new learning into a collaborated lesson, and then you may have thought you'd have to go teach it in your own classrooms and then debrief maybe on the February early release. Well, that kind of boxes you into a certain time period to teach a certain standard, and maybe that's not the particular time period you want to work on. Maybe it's sooner, maybe it's later. Well, this opportunity is about this. I have allocated a certain amount of funds to pay for a substitute for you in your small group to go to one of your schools. If you're a small group that's composed of teachers from all different schools, well, I'm willing to pay for a substitute for each of you to have a sub, including the host teacher, to have a substitute in their classroom so that you can go into the classroom and have a teacher teach the lesson. The partner teachers can walk around the classroom and take observations of the students during the lesson, pull together the notes, and then debrief. I would suggest that you, in this debrief, you maybe make some changes to the lesson and see if there's something you could do to tweak it, and then reteach. So in your packet, you have this school-based implementation opportunity. Page 11 is a place for you and your small group to just provide me some interest. It's just an interest survey, and I would like you to do that today on October 17th. You don't commit to anything on this date, but it will give me some information on how many groups are interested in this. I do have limited funding in this, so it's going to give me an idea on how many can I select. If there's not an overwhelming response, it also allows me to realize what my resources I can use elsewhere. So that'd be grateful. I'd be grateful if you go ahead and think about this and tell me about this if you're interested. On the next page in your packet, on page 12, you'll also notice that it has the information of which you would be ready to answer in the event you're ready to apply for this opportunity. So this actually is the application process. This QR code here will get you to the SurveyMonkey, which is an application, or the link itself right there. But there are a number of areas identified on this that says be ready to answer these before you get to the SurveyMonkey. Anyway, so the breakdown, there's an example breakdown of what the school day would look like in the day you go to to go do the teach. And so I just you don't have to follow this, and there's also, you have your own lesson planning periods to consider. But like say, what if at first and second period you go over the lesson and make sure all the resources are ready. You also, of course, stage to go to the classroom and be ready for the third period teach. So during third period, one of you will teach the lesson, and you can figure out who would like to do that, while the others observe. It's a very careful step in this is what are you going to observe? Be very particular on the observation tool you either create or one you will use to gather the data from the students during the lesson to see if in fact the embedded new learning of yours in this lesson is having the impact you expect. So then you have fourth and fifth period. That's time to debrief. Let's go over the student information. The teacher has a perspective, the observers have a perspective. They're absolutely fascinating because most of the times the observers will see things the teachers didn't see. Then you, of course, give yourself a lunch. Then I would say sixth period, you would go into a second teaching opportunity. You could keep the same teacher, same classroom. You could switch that up, but keeping some of the variables the same will help you make some judgment. So during the fourth and fifth period, whenever you're debriefing, that's when you make those lesson tweaks. And then this leaves you seventh period to do a final debrief and see the impact. This would be something very great to be able to share by the February, the last ERPL. But if you can't work this out and have it ready to go by the February ERPL, that if your teach is after that, that's okay with me. But in your interest survey, that's going to give me the who's interested in this. And in the final application, you're going to lock in on a date and which school you'll be at, who the teacher will be. So these are a lot of this is a lot of information that I'm going to need you to be ready to answer. But that is what this opportunity is. I hope many of you will take advantage of this. But again, if you have an interest, fill out that today, and I thank you.